Greetings to all my students and my special guests. This is W.C. Ballard, your step-by-step CEO, and I'm back with my 501c series. As most of you know who have been following me, I already talked about the C3, the C4, the C6. So now they asked me to keep going. You know, there are over 32 of them. I believe there's something like 32 IRS codes. And today we're going to talk about the C7, 8, and the 9. What are their differences? What are their similarities? So let's get started. So we're going to do a step-by-step comparison like I always do. We're going to talk about each one of them and give you a brief summary of them. Then we're going to show you a chart which displays their similarities. And then we're going to follow with the 5 major differences, and we'll wrap up on helping you choose which one do you fall in, or do you fall in any of them. So let's start about talking at the terms of a 501c3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. As a matter of fact, the IRS has over 30 designations that begin with 501c. And I'm going to try to get through all of them. So stick with me, click the like button, and why don't you subscribe so you'll be prepared to understand how you can write grants, how you can form your organizations, and how to do it. So the terms C7, C8, and C9 refer to different types, of course, of tax-exempt organizations that are recognized by the IRS. And each has distinct purposes, structures, tax treatments, but they all share some similarities due to their nonprofit and tax-exempt nature. So we're going to review their similarities and differences and the 5 distinct differences. Let's go. The 501c7. That's for your social clubs. These are nonprofits created mainly for fun and social interaction, and you might think of country clubs or sports clubs or hobby groups. They exist to serve their members, not the public. They make most of their money from membership dues and events, and donations to them are not tax deductible. The 501c8 are your fraternal organizations. These are groups like the Elks or Knights of Columbus. They're built around and shared bonds or memberships, and they combine social activities with charity work. To qualify, they must provide some type of community benefit like scholarships or aid or feeding the homeless, etc. And then donations may be tax deductible if used for their charitable work. Those are your fraternal organizations. Next is the 501c9, the Voluntary Employees Beneficiary Associations, also known as VEBAs. And these are set up usually by employers, unions, or employee groups to provide health, life, or similar benefits to their members. They don't do social or charitable work. Their focus is on helping their membership with their needs like insurance or medical costs. The contributions that you give to these are generally not tax deductible for individuals. So what are the similarities? Here's one of my famous charts that you guys love to see. Let's look at each one side by side and see if that helps with the explanations. So the primary purpose for the 501c7 are your social clubs, your C8 are your fraternal societies, and your C9 are your VEBAs. Do they require some type of membership? Yes, all of them do. Do they have tax-exempt status? Tax-exempt status? Yes, if certain criteria are met, and that's for all 3. And do they file once a year, and they file the Form 990 series? Now, are they allowed to have income sources? Well, yes. The C7, member dues and member activities. The fraternal societies can do member dues and activities or fundraisers. And your VEBAs, usually come with contributions from the employers or the employees or some type of investment income. Now, charitable activities, which are C7, they're not required. Which are C8, some is required if you're going to be doing charitable work. And your C9 is not required, but can provide health and welfare benefits to their membership. Now, are they eligible for people to donate, for donations? With your C7, it's not tax deductible. That means if I contribute $100 to your C7 to the social club, I can't deduct that as a tax deduction on my income tax. Now, the C8 is tax deductible if it's for a charitable cause, and C9 not tax deductible. So what are the key differences? Their purpose, of course, is what we talked about before. Examples of your C7: country clubs, sports clubs, hobby groups. C8, your Elks clubs, your Knights of Columbus. C9, employee health plans, disability benefit funds, or some type of funds to help them with medical. Public benefit focus, your C7, minimal or really none. C8, required to some degree because it's associated with a charitable purpose, which is a public benefit. And your C9 is not general public because it focuses on its memberships, not the general public. Income restrictions, your C7. If they're greater than 35% comes from your non-members, it may be jeopardizing status. What that means is that most of your income should be coming from the membership, not from someone outside the membership. Then it would start getting into another area, which is another type of 501c3. I'm not a 3, but 501c. So your 501c8 is less restrictive if there's charity involved. And your C9, it's usually investment and employer contributions. Tax deductibility of the 7, dues are not tax deductible. C8, donations may be, of course, because that charitable arm is there. And your C9, contributions are usually not deductible. So now that you've seen all the similarities and differences, which one do you choose? Well, it's pretty simple by now. Your 501c7, if you're going to be a recreational or social club, you'll select the 501c7. And of course, it explains the tax deductibility. There's no charitable work involved. If you have a fraternal organization with a social arm and you want to do some charitable work in the community, then you're going to be a 501c8. If your employee benefit funds, you come together and you've come up with an employee benefit program, it can be either formed by the employees or the employer, then you're a 501c9. So, if any of you have any questions, please click and make your remarks. Tell me what else you'd like to see. My related videos, what's the difference between a 3, a 4, and a 6? You can find that video. Just look below and I have a link to it. And another related video is, can you define the 501c3 organization? Now, some of you want to say, well, why should I look at that one? Well, this is important. Even if you have a 501c8 or a 9, you can also have a sister organization. Let's say you have a flagship program, something that you do annually, and it's turned into be a real big major project, and it could actually be a mini organization in and of itself. You can form a 501c3. Yes, you can do that as another organization. So you need to understand that once you become a 501c8 or 9 or 7, it doesn't end there. You can form another mini organization, and it would have its own independent board, etc., etc. So you need to look at why grant funding is so important for 501c3 organizations. Also, you can learn that there's more to it than just grant funding. There's all kinds of sponsorships out there also. Also, I have classes where I can show you when, what, how, and how to write and prepare and put together a 501c7, 8, or 9, and prepare yourself for getting grant funding, but not just grant funding. You know, there's more type of income sources than just grants. There are corporate sponsorships. I can show you how to put together sponsorship packets, how to do solicitations, and there's a whole lot involved when you talk about not just grant writing, but writing for funding. And I'm on podia.com, wcballard.podia.com/grant writing step-by-step, and I take you through very detailed classes, and why don't you check them out? But for now, we're going to close out on your 501c7, 8, and 9, and I'll see you the next time. Be sure to subscribe so you can be there when I do my next series. This is W.C. Ballard checking out.